Hey everybody, welcome back to the Down to the Wire podcast. I'm Bryce,
I'm Ross.
and today we have a really exciting episode for you guys. We're going to be talking about the MLB, the NFL, and the NBA, so stay tuned.
So for this segment, Orlando Magic power forward Jonathan Isaac was the only player to stand for the national anthem, and it was due to the fact that he says that a Black Lives Matter shirt or kneeling is not the right demonstration, and they don't go hand in hand with supporting Black lives. And he did say through TMZ, he said that I think when you look around, racism isn't the only thing that plagues our society, that plagues our nation, that plagues our world. And I feel like coming together on that message that we want to get past not only racism, but everything that plagues as a society, the answer to it is the gospel. So, Bryce, what are your thoughts on his comments and his actions?
I mean, it is kind of weird that he's so far literally the only player that hasn't taken a knee. Nonetheless, that's his choice, and he can do what he wants. It's not a rule to knee, it's not a rule to stand up. And I mean, those are his opinions on the world and where everything is at right now. So whatever he thinks is best, I mean, let him do what he thinks is best.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's no answer to this. I think people right now are looking at it. It's like if you don't kneel, you're not for Black Lives Matter, but you kneel, you for Black Lives Matter. And I think it's more, there's a bigger picture to it than just that. So I give Jonathan Isaac credit for standing up to his beliefs, even though he does believe in Black Lives Matter, standing up to what he thinks is right, whether it's standing or kneeling.
So yesterday we had our first NBA games since March. And so the Jazz and the Pelicans were the very first game. JJ Redick had a really good game. Brandon Ingram had a pretty good game. Zion only played 15 minutes. Still scored 13 points though, so that he was really efficient. Rudy Gobert did his thing out there. Donovan Mitchell did all right. Mike Conley did pretty well. And it was a really close game as well. So all around, a pretty close game between the two teams, and a lot of players did pretty good.
I'm surprised Zion had no rebounds and 1 assist, and I'm surprised as for the Jazz, Royce O'Neal had almost a double-double. Pretty insane. I usually don't hear that name ever. But yeah, I think they just need. I think Zion was, even though he missed that week, he was probably working out at home. There's no way he wasn't. I feel like they should have just played him normal minutes yesterday. They may have won if they did that.
Yeah, I mean, at first I was confused as to why they only played in 15 minutes, but then you gotta remember, just like everybody else, it's been a while since he played a game. Not only that, but he only played like 21 games, and that was returning from such a long injury. So maybe they're just gonna play him a little more minutes each game at a time.
I mean, he's fully healthy. I think he should be playing full minutes soon, and if not, hopefully next game, because they just need to unleash this man at this point. He's been sitting caged up like a lion for this whole time, so I think it's time for him to really show what's up. And let me just mention Brandon Ingram. He had 23 and 8 last night. This man went from averaging 13, 2, and 4 in 31 minutes per game last year to 23, 4, and 6 in 34 minutes per game. So only 3 minutes more, and he's having a really good season. So I'd like to see what's to come for him for the rest of the bubble.
So the other game of the night yesterday was the Lakers versus the Clippers. The Lakers just beat the Clippers by 2 points. LeBron James had an interesting game. He only had like 14 or 16 points, but he also had 10 rebounds. Both teams were kind of sloppy. There was a lot of turnovers on both sides. And it's weird that the Clippers lost because they took advantage of all the Lakers' turnovers, whereas the Lakers had less turnovers, but they didn't take advantage of the Clippers' turnovers. Near the end, there was about 12.8 seconds left. The Clippers inbounded the ball. It didn't really look like they had a plan for their last shot. LeBron basically shut down Paul George and Kawhi. They passed it to Kawhi and then back to Paul George, Kawhi, Paul George, and they just didn't get a good shot off. They took a 3. They probably should have drove the lane for a 2. I'm pretty sure they might have been the bonus, so I don't know why they didn't just do that. Nonetheless, a really great game. I'm not even surprised. I thought the Lakers were going to win anyway because I mean, I thought this series was going to go 2-2, and it is now. So
Yeah, I mean, everyone's talking like Paul George had a great game. It's like, well, Kawhi literally dropped 28, 4, and 3, and Paul George was 23. I mean, 33 and 5. It's like they're talking like George had an insane game, but they had just about the same stats. I just want to give a little shout out to Joakim Noah for 1 point, 1 assist, and 4 rebounds. Finally playing. That's finally playing at some point. Couldn't play on that Knicks contract, but
the
apparently
only
he can
guy
play
who
for $1
has to
million.
stretch before he enters the game.
I know I mean, like, to be honest with you, like, I just don't like, how does this guy stick around? The guy couldn't play 3 years ago. Like, what, like, I don't get it. But either way, they it wasn't a bad game. I forgot they do have Reggie Jackson now, so it's going to be interesting seeing what's going to come from them moving forward. I'm
Yeah,
surprised, and they also started Jackson over Beverly, which was surprising. So I'm guessing it's going to be Beverly and what's his name, Williams off the bench when he comes back.
yeah. I don't know if you saw, but Anthony Davis was on fire from 3-point range late in the
I
third
heard
quarter,
about that. Yeah,
and
yeah. I
even in
didn't
the
watch the
fourth
game,
quarter.
but yeah, I heard
Um,
about that. It was
yeah,
wild.
minus the turnovers, the Clippers actually played really well without Montrezl Harrell and Lou Will, which is a little embarrassing for the Lakers. They only won by 2, and the Clippers didn't even have both their 6 men. But nonetheless, great game overall by both
Yeah.
teams.
And honestly, I'm another shout out, Mr. J.R. Smith, 0 points, 0 assists, and 0 rebounds in 8 minutes. Proud of you, kid. Go out there and do your work. But yeah, so I'm really happy that basketball's back. So we'll see what comes from it moving forward. So moving on to some MLB news. The MLB has just announced today, as of 6 o'clock, so as of about an hour ago, that they may be canceling the season. Commissioner Robert Manfred did say that if the positive tests still continue, and this is after, like, they may have to cancel it, and this is after the Cardinals canceled their game today with the Brewers due to some staff members getting positive tests. So, Bryce, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, I'm praying to God that the season doesn't get canceled. The MLB probably could have done a little more to prevent coronavirus cases. They probably should have had like designated hotels for each team and told the players, hey, like, besides practice, besides baseball games, don't leave the hotel. Um, so, I mean, again, I'm hoping the season doesn't get canceled, but I mean, you know, we're just gonna have to wait and see. And then if it does get canceled, I'm curious to see if the fans and or the players or if anyone just calls out Manfred or the owners for not coming up with a more safe plan.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think I'd spoken about this in a prior show. I'm not really sure if I did, but honestly, they had the one stadium they built for the Iowa game and where the Field of Dreams was. They should have just built like three more stadiums and sat them right in the middle of Iowa. Like, I don't know why they didn't do that originally, because it's literally like, I don't know how the tests are there, but you're literally sitting in the middle of cornfields in Iowa. There's no way the coronavirus isn't like you're getting it from corn. So, like, to be honest with you, just cut a little more corn out of the cornfield and just put another stadium or two and just have three stadiums, consistent baseball games throughout the day. And I think they could have easily gotten 60 games through in a couple months if they did like 3-4 games a day, each team. Like, you sit out for a day, you go back. I think there were ways to work it out. And Governor Cuomo in New York did say that he was willing a couple of days ago to open up baseball if they wanted to do like a bubble kind of thing in New York. He was open to letting them come to New York and do that. So we'll see moving forward what they're going to do, because I think it would just be a waste to not have a season.
Yeah, another thought for the safety, they could have done something like they could have done like a bubble like what the NBA is doing down there in Orlando. If you look at like just like this huge view of the whole um, like campus where the bubble is for the NBA, there's a bunch of like basketball courts, but there's also like dozens of baseball fields. So I don't know why they didn't consider that.
Yeah.
Um, or they could have gone to like Cooperstown, and like, I mean, those fields are small fields for like middle schoolers, but maybe there's some kind of way where you can expand them.
Oh, you just
So,
expand. You just put a line where the home run would be, or you cut the fence down and
well,
you
yeah, and
yeah.
you're gonna have to change the bases around a little bit with the distance and all that, and home plate and the mound. And plus on that in that area there's also barracks, so like I mean they're not big enough to hold like a 30-man roster, but each team can have like two barracks, three barracks or something. So they could have
Yeah,
done something like that.
and like I think maybe we'll see. And the problem is it's going to be getting in the middle of football season if football ends up happening, which it looks like they may have to do if there's no way the NFL can't do a bubble, seeing what the MLB has been going through. But maybe they just try to throw baseball down in Orlando when the bubble's done with basketball, and you just throw them right in Florida, and you have them play in the fields in that area, like you were saying, or maybe the football at the NFL goes to Florida and they do it at Disney. So there's a whole bunch that I, we'll see. I mean, I think part of it is that the NBA has the biggest deal, or not deal, just partnership with Disney, unlike the other sports out there. So we'll see.
Right.
But I think there's no way baseball can go a full season just canceling it. It's just too important to have it. For some more MLB news, Joe Kelly. I don't know if it's few or for some more MLB news, Joe Kelly, pitcher of the Dodgers, had played for the Boston Red Sox in 2017 when they lost in the divisional round against the Astros. And he now is a member, like I said, a member of the Dodgers, where they played the Astros the first time since the World Series in 2017 when the Astros were called for cheating and got fined, and suspensions were thrown out this year to coaches and GMs. So Kelly did throw at Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman, and may have been Altuve. I'm not sure, Bryce, if you can correct me on that one.
I think
But
maybe it was Tuve or George Springer or something like that.
yeah, I mean, he did throw there, and he got there was a bit of a altercation after, and Bregman had walked off, no comment, no nothing, and he was suspended 8 games. He did appeal, so he did pitch the next day or 2 days later. And one of the other players on the Dodgers, I forget, no, sorry, not the Dodgers, the Astros, I forget who exactly got suspended for 1 game for part of his altercation. So, Bryce, what are your thoughts on Mr. Joe Kelly?
Well, I know the Astros coach got fined and then the Dodgers coach got suspended 1 game or something like that. Um, I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, this is gonna happen throughout the season. I'm not condoning it, but I mean, the Astros, I mean, they had it coming. They kind of asked for it. So, I mean, honestly, I don't really think too many players are gonna care about the suspension. I think pitchers are just gonna keep throwing at them. And also, Joe Kelly did appeal his uh, suspension. So, I mean, yeah. Also, if you pay attention to John Boy Media at all, he already made T-shirts saying "Thank you, Joe Kelly" with with the silly face that he made on it.
So Kelly has been posting memes nonstop since February. Some of them are hilarious. He's always hashtag Joe Kelly for president, Joe Kelly for closer, all that. And they were saying some of the pitches he were throwing to Correa and stuff, he screwed up. And it wasn't just him throwing at Correa, though it may have been. The one to Bregman was intentional, but he has been posting F the Astros. Um, just specifically 2 of them. He took a picture of his kids. He put Correa, Altuve, and Bregman on them the night of, and says, "Hey guys, the suspension I received from the Major League Baseball for my actions on Tuesday. I'd like to apologize to absolutely nobody." Going for Conor McGregor's quotes, and then yesterday he took his face and put it on a person in jail, and he says the MLB has me locked up. He said he was going for Archie Bradley yesterday and that he wasn't there and that he was saying screw the Astros. And he's calling his account a satirical account not controlled by him. But this man has gained 43,000 followers since the night of it happening. So I good for him, honestly. I can't blame him. As much as it may have been unsafe to throw at them, Joe Kelly, in my opinion, savage, greatest player to ever play the game.
So moving on to the NFL, LeSean McCoy, a running back, signed with the Buccaneers, a 1-year deal. This team looks like it's slowly turning into a old man super team. Bill Belichick, still a genius. What do you have to say about this, Ross?
Okay, so before I state my opinion on just specifically LeSean McCoy, they now have Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. Everyone forgets they have O.J. Howard, Rob Gronkowski, McCoy, and Ronald Jones, who everyone isn't talking about him. I think he's a very good running back. He was solid on my fantasy team last year, but he in general, he was good besides the fantasy team. But honestly, this is pretty wild. Some of them are old. Obviously, Gronk's 31, but he still has it if he can get out there and at least show that he can block and go out for a catch every so often. And then they have O.J. Howard. He's probably be taking most of the catches. And then Mr. McCoy at running back with Jones. This is I can't even talk about this. They have Sue, and they just re-signed Puri Paul and on the defense. Like, this is going to be scary next year. This is going to be very scary. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe the Buccaneers' chances of winning the division are just slowly increasing.
Oh, of course.
Every time they sign someone.
Yeah, and this is going to be with the Saints now there. This is going to be really interesting to see. Very interesting. But I still don't think they're getting past the Chiefs because Patrick Mahomes has got something to prove, being number 4th ranked behind Russell Wilson and a couple other players on that top 100 list. So we'll see. But other than the Chiefs, it looks like they've got a straight shot to the playoffs and potentially the Super Bowl. All right, for this segment, we are going to be talking about Eli Manning and Phillip Rivers, and if they had stayed on their original teams they got drafted on, where they would be in their careers and who would be winning Super Bowls. So, Bryce, who are you taking if they stay on their respective teams?
I mean, I think the big question is, who has the most success if they stay on their original teams? Does Eli still win his 2 Super Bowls if he stayed on the Chargers, or does Phillip Rivers win a Super Bowl with the Giants? I mean, who would I rather have? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Phillip Rivers would have more success being on the Giants than Eli would with the Chargers. I just
I
think
agree.
Overall, those like the supporting cast that the Giants had when they won the Super Bowl in the years like the 2007, 2008 season, the 2011, 2012 season, I think the supporting cast was great. Underperformed in that 2012 season, but a great supporting cast and better than what the Chargers was. Maybe Eli would lead the Chargers to more success than what Phillip Rivers was able to do. But I mean, I guess if I had to pick one or the other, um, I guess I would just pick Phillip Rivers just because, again, like the supporting cast around him, if he was on the Giants, that would help him out so much more.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, if it's in general, like I'm taking probably I don't know. I mean, if I'd probably say the Giants would have more success because, like you said, the supporting cast. Phillip Rivers did have a better regular season, so I mean, we don't know. We don't have a huge sample size of his playoff career, but I think if you look at it in general, I think he had more of a shot to pull off what he did in the regular season in the playoffs. So I would think that would help. I mean, maybe they're not just a wild card team. Maybe they win some of those divisions if Phillip Rivers is on those teams because he did again have a better regular season career than Eli Manning did.
Right.
I mean, if you have to take one, I think I'm taking Eli only because of how clutch he is.
Yeah.
But if I have to pick on who has the more successful career, I think I take Phillip on the Giants than I do Eli on the Chargers.
Yeah, I think if Eli was on the Chargers, he would kind of have to like carry them a little bit, if that's even in his capabilities. And if I mean, maybe he would end up being able to like barely lead them to like being the division winner, and then once it comes to playoffs, just be clutch for them and just like overachieve.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you for watching Down to the Wire today. I'm Ross.
I'm Bryce.
Tune in for our next show. Please like, subscribe, comment, follow us on Instagram. Link will be in the description, and have a good rest of your day.